Now, here's a topic that I find pretty interesting. And I find it interesting. I don't know how useful this will be for you, but I've talked to a few people, or I've explained this to them, and they were like, "Wow, I never knew that. I never thought about it from this perspective." And that is, have you ever thought about, as a small to medium sized practice owner, a healthcare provider, in particular a dentist, or let's say orthopedics, independent orthopedic surgeon, maybe an ambulatory surgery center, a dermatologist, or a plastic surgeon, why there are just so many services that are specifically tailored towards your needs, and why there's so many salespeople knocking on your door trying to sell you these things constantly. And by constantly, like, I've experienced this. I've sat in a small practice at the request of a doctor that I worked with for a while. He was a urologist in the San Francisco area. And he said, just come in and sit in my office for a half a day and just listen to the calls that come into my front desk staff and my practice manager. And what I recall is like, I want to say like every third or fifth call, it was a salesperson. It was, hey, I need to help you with your SEO. I need to help you with your local search. I can get you found on Google. I need to know about your data because we need to make sure your data is right on Yelp and all these places, with a promise of saving your practice manager time, saving your staff time, saving you time, getting you new patients, getting you more reviews, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Online booking is going to help you get more patients. Because what's interesting about this is, I've got friends that own restaurants. I've got friends that have small businesses as an electrician or a plumber. I grew up in a family with pawn shops and, lawn and garden centers and things like this. We've never approached as often as we are, as I saw this in the healthcare space for healthcare marketing. And so maybe, hey, why is that? I never thought about it, but I realize I've been a part of a lot of meetings where what I want to show you is just discussed, and it's, why you are such a valuable target. Let me just share my screen here, and I didn't rehearse this. This is coming from memory, so I'm just going to like look at it, walk through some numbers, and like, look, if we're just generally in the ballpark on this stuff, I think it'll at least reveal the point. Let me just see if I can flop over. I think you can see my screen here. I'm looking on it on my recording software, but here's the first thing. National health expenditure, according to CMS itself directly, like this is straight from the government, $4.3 trillion in 2021. $12,000, $13,000 almost per person in 2021. It was 18.3% of our gross domestic product in the United States. That's the national health expenditure for the United States. It's just such a big number. It's like so hard to get your head around that number. Like when they get that big, you're like, oh, what's a trillion? It's a 2 trillion. It's whatever, right? I've tried to quantify that number with folks before, and it's like, look, you can compare this to what does the next country spend? What does Japan spend? What does Finland spend? What does, Mexico spend, or Canada spend, or the UK spend? I'm politicians. I don't want to go into this, but it's like everybody says like, oh, we have the best healthcare system in the world. Like I have a lot of doctor friends, and they 9 times out of 10 do not agree with that statement. Yeah, if you've got money, we're a great healthcare system. If you, are just working class guy, you believe you get to choose your doctors and we have the best healthcare system on the planet. But man, if you live in a small rural part of the country in what maybe people consider a flyover state and just have a regular job, you don't get to pick your doctor. And but all to be said, this is how much money we're spending, right? And I kind of went off on a tangent on all that other stuff, but this is kind of like part of the core reason why you're such a great target. Let's look at some of these other numbers here. Physicians and clinical services expenditure grew 5.6% to $864 billion in 2021. Projected, if look at the growth that's being projected here. What are they saying? I thought I saw a number here that got upwards of. Did they show the trillions? NHE group by this projected NHE average. In NHE, 5.4% is projected to outpace the average GDP growth of 4.6%, resulting increase. So by 2031, we're going to see an increase in health spending share of GDP by 18.3% to 19.6% by 2031. Wow, that's amazing. I mean, that's adding it. I want to find the number. I've seen the number, but it was over 5 trillion, which is insane. And then how much is spent on hospitals? Expenditures grew by this much. Physician and clinical prescription drugs spending increased, but like the 378 billion. Out-of-pocket spending grew. This is money up for grabs, Private health insurance spending grew. Medicaid spending grew. Grow. And it's going to continue to grow. How big is this number, though? Even if you look at the number we have today, 4.3 trillion. Here's the U.S. military budget for 2023. $816 billion. $816 billion. What is that? Man, I know you're gonna laugh at me for the math here, but like if I take 816 and I divide that by 4,100, it's, what is that? So what is that telling me? That is telling me, oh wait, sorry, I want to do that the other way around. I want to take 4,100 divided by 816. Yeah, it's 5 times the size. So our national health expenditure is 5 times the size of the U.S. military budget. I mean, you've got to smash together several really big industries just to even reach that national health expenditure. So, like, out of curiosity, like, what's the market size? Market watch? No, I want to see the market size for the global games industry. How big is that? Come on, Google. Woo! Even smaller, $217 billion. Like, that's every game. Global video game market size estimated 217. I'm just going to like write down a couple of numbers here. So you got global games is 217. We saw 830 for, let's just be generous and say that only gets us to like a little over $1 trillion. And we got to find, 4 times that amount to get to the national health expenditure. It's not surprising, right? That, people say, look, there's a lot of money. It's growing. We can go after small to medium-sized practices that their revenue is growing. And yeah, there's consolidation. You could argue that, like, look, if I own if I own a primary care office, if I'm an orthopedic clinic, there's a likelihood I'm going to get bought up by a health system. But there's also people who won't, right? You've got, your dermatologists who are doing really well, and independent orthopedic surgeons, a dentist, orthodontist, services like those that there's a high demand for. You're just going to go direct. And in fact, a lot of like dentists in particular, where Insurance is less of a thing. It's a lot more fee for service type stuff. And so, hey, there's a lot of money there. So you've got people who have a perceived need. I want to be number one on Google. I want to have a bunch of 5-star ratings. I want to reduce the time that my practice manager is spending dealing with I want to increase my efficiencies. I want to make more money. And there's a lot of dentists out there. 2022, 202,000 dentists. They say 60 dentists for every 100,000 people, which I think is an interesting number. I think if that's an average, if you go to a place like a metropolitan area, Dallas, I don't know, Salt Lake City, Utah, Denver, Colorado, San Francisco, San Diego, places on the East Coast. I just don't know the places on the East Coast because I've always lived in the Midwest, the South, and the West Coast. But you've got a higher concentration of people in areas. Like, let's look at, I already randomly picked this, but Grapevine, Texas. This is pretty telling. Grapevine, look at all the dental offices you're competing with. And yeah, there's a big population here, but I'm a dentist. I want to grow. And if you're a salesperson, you're going to go through and you're going to look at this and go, all right, in order for that, in order for a dentist to succeed, they need a lot of 5-star reviews on Google. Without the social proof, no one's going to, come there. So, and you've got, but this just goes on and on and on. So I'm looking at this and going, well, okay, well, here's somebody. They only have 8 reviews, 4.5 stars, only 8 reviews. This guy's going to be the first person on my list I'm going to call. Listen, here's my pitch to you. Dr. Parker, you need more reviews if you're going to compete with, okay, who's close to you? Who are you competing with? You're a new guy. I'm just going to call out some of your competitors and I'm saying like, in fact, where did you go? Let me find you again here. The point I'm trying to make here is there's a lot of tools. There's a lot of tools for me as a salesperson. So first of all, I'm like, look, you got money. You have a need. If I sign you up, I know you can pay your bills. We're in an industry that's going to keep growing. That's necessary. And I can come to your website and I can find things on your website that I can just pick apart, whether they're true or not. I can pick this website apart and say, hey man, you're going to get your 5-star ratings. You're going to get more patients to keep your staff paid and everything else if you, right, blah, blah, blah. And here's how much it's going to cost. So I can put together an easy sales pitch for you. Not only that, if I own the service and I'm not the salesperson, but I own a service, I can put together sales pitches for you all day long that I can arm those people with. And I can take like somebody who's just a talented closer, knows absolutely nothing about you, your patients, dental offices, I can just give them some talking points to get them started and come in. And you've seen this done with lots of services, everything from ZocDoc and back in the day selling online booking and the value to online booking to today you've got, what am I looking at here? Text chat with us. I don't see who's this powered by. Podium. Great. I've seen that before. Tell you one of the next big things you're going to start seeing is a lot of let me sell you automated chat for your patients, AI-driven chat for your patients. And the pitches are going to be like, AI can help this. They can even get integrated with booking, and we can train it so that it knows you and your practice and your people, and it can be, this sort of indistinguishable Turing test type thing from a real human being. That's coming. I mean, if you haven't already heard it, this year, next year, you're going to start hearing AI stuff. And there's a bunch of new pitches around this, like tuning your website for AI. Like, hey, you've been feeding Google with your website. That's been the primary thing you do. Make sure Google knows who you are. They put you number one. You got to feed them a lot of data. You want to be top on the local pack with maps when somebody searches for you on maps, et cetera, et cetera. And your website's key to doing that. So, you can come in and analyze your site. And I'm killing it here, but I'm like telling you, there's just, if I sum this up, you have money, you have a need. It's really easy to put together a sales pitch just by analyzing your website. And 9 times out of 10 or more, you don't know how to call BS on this stuff. In fact, let me put together some BS because that's fun. I like doing that. I'm going to pick on this guy's website. I'm sure your website's fine. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go, let's analyze the page load for this doctor. Let's pick mobile. And I want to look at performance, accessibility, best practices, SEO. Let's see what it has to say. My guess is it's going to come back with some low scores. It's not that big of a deal. By the way, if this happens to be your website, Dr. Tate, don't worry about it. You're fine, I'm sure. Yeah, there you go. You know, honestly, that's not too bad. I could pick on those numbers though. And what the other thing I could do with these numbers is I could go in and throttle my browser and I could make those numbers look bad. And then all I have to do is send this to you and show you some low numbers and be like, this is impacting your ability to attract new patients. You should talk to me. Oh my God, I'm losing patients. I should talk to you. Yeah. So you're a target that, again, you're a target because you have money and a need, and it's easy to put together a pitch that's going to catch your attention from an astute salesperson. So let me just back off of this one. Gosh, I'm actually good. That's pretty good. What else would I pick on this website if I wanted to? Because I'm just curious. I'm surprised your accessibility score is that high. And the reason is because you got white text on a white background. And there's not, let's see how much content you have. Cosmetic dentistry. Ooh, you're doing cosmetic dentistry. That's nice. Dental bonding. What do you have to say here? It's pretty thin content. Like, this is probably more harmful than helpful. You know, if you're going to talk about dental bonding, talk about it a little bit more. Although, in the future, to be fair, as we start, people are going to stop using Google so much. They're going to start using AI a lot more. This is going to be more about feeding AI what it needs to know to pick you. When somebody goes to ChatGPT or Google Bard and they say, hey, who's the best dentist in Grapevine? And then ChatGPT is going to go like, oh, this guy, this person, and this gal. How the heck do they know that? How does it know that? Well, since we're not in the age of quantum computing just yet, and we're really just doing large language model stuff, it's just going to regurgitate what it sees on what it's reading on the web. And ChatGPT is limited to kind of 2021 and before that, but like not for long. So thinking about how you're feeding ChatGPT and AI, large language models and AI models with your website in the future is going to become, a thing to do. But it's also going to open up a whole new avenue for services and more people to sell you more stuff. Oh my God. Whew. Well, better you than me. The question, I'm going to switch over. We don't need to look at the screen anymore because I'll wrap this up. But this is kind of the tip of the iceberg, which I'm going to like for this sort of podcasty format because there's just going to be lots of stuff I could talk about. Here, and it's all going to change, and it never stays the same for long. So, but I just want to roll back to the point I sort of squirreled away from here, which is it's good to understand why you are such a beautiful target. And it is the fact that they perceive the industry's big, lots of money, it's growing in every segment. Despite the consolidation, there are still a lot of customers out there that can be approached with an easy sales pitch. And as the market changes and the services, there's a whole new suite of services that are going to come along with AI. I think it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. Also leave you with a positive note here. I think the sales pitches are going to try to scare you into buying stuff and try to convince you that you need. But I think with AI coming and what's going to happen there, I think there's going to actually be less and less of a need. And I think there are going to be ways to simplify what you're doing and just say, like, look, I don't need this. Stop calling me, and have your practice manager, just give them the authority to say, yeah, we're good in a way. So, okay. So to sum that bit up, I think it's going to get easier. I'll leave it there for today. And as I start looking at more stuff and thinking of more, things I think you might be interested, I'll pop back on and put it up. For now, I think that's enough talking. What we went for, 20 minutes, 21 minutes. If you stuck with me that long, good on you. All right. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. Oh, there's one. All right. We'll end it.